Hey, McKee, West Rucker, Go Vols 24/7 here at Lindsey Nelson Stadium with our Around the Horn following Tennessee's 10-8 loss to Evansville. Tennessee not punching its ticket to Omaha today. It'll have to try and do so tomorrow because Evansville has forced a Game 3 tomorrow at 6 p.m. Eastern on ESPNU in prime time now. The early starts are over, and now it's the prime time slot. We'll wrap on that note. But in the meantime, it looked like Tennessee was going to cruise to a win and punch their ticket early on, jump out to a 4-0 lead, 3 solo home runs in the first inning, and Tennessee was cruising there, and the pitching just middle of the game melted down, quite frankly.
Yeah, I mean, you know, the offense left 11 on base, so I'm not going to completely exonerate them. That's a lot of people left on base. But
They also scored a lot of runs.
But they also scored 8 runs, and that should be enough to win the game. But we said, I said it all week, like Evansville is an old team, and it can hit. And if you let those guys hang around, they're good enough to make you pay for it. I didn't think Evansville could win this series. I still don't think Evansville will win this series. But Tennessee did not make the pitches it needed to make today. Did not quite get enough of a rally that it needed late. And here you are for the first time all season. Your season's on a brink, and it's win or go home.
It absolutely is, and Evansville absolutely has a terrific lineup.
Yes.
Everybody has said that all week long, and you know it's not surprising to see them have success. But I mean, at the end of the day, when looking at it from Tennessee's perspective, since we cover Tennessee, Drew Beam did not give the start that you expect out of your leader of the pitching staff. Nate Snead was unable to come in the game and close things down, and that was after Kirby Cannell comes in and allows a walk. Now, it was a 9-pitch at bat, and I thought Kirby threw a lot of pitches against arguably their best hitter, and it leads to a walk. But, and I mean, your 3 guys, kind of your 3 main guys right there, let you down, quite frankly.
Yeah, I mean, the focus will be on Beam mostly, and it should be, because he is the leader of this team, of this staff, and the ball's in his hands with a comfortable lead. That should be game blouses. That should be it. But it wasn't, and it's not the first time this season. It's had a couple starts there that just kind of make you question, like, you know, what exactly is going on there. But he didn't miss enough bats. He just wasn't very good after the first couple innings. He just wasn't. And I will say this, though, I would have been like more willing to criticize the staff for keeping Beam in as long as it had if the guys behind Beam had come in and done their jobs, but they did not either. So you know, I'm not going to blame the coaches for that. I'm really not. Like, I understand why they made the moves they made, including, you know, taking Binky off the mound and not letting him do that extra inning because he was doing all right, and they might need him tomorrow after they gave up that home run. He came back and was good. So yeah, it starts with Beam because that's, you know, where it starts. Your QB1, you can't take all the praise without the criticism. He wasn't very good today.
Yeah, and you mentioned the offensive criticism a little earlier, and I've seen a lot of that on social media as well, on the message board. And for me, and I've said this throughout the season, like when the pitching staff takes the wind out of the sails, it's hard for me to look at the offense. Was the offense perfect? Absolutely not. Could they have done some things differently here and there? Absolutely. Earlier in the game, I think it was the 3rd or 4th inning, I said it feels like it's 14-0 right now, but it's 4-0. And that was after, like, Tennessee was leading 4-0, but then the next 2 innings, in the 3rd and the 4th, I believe, they left runners on base, and it felt like you really could have landed a haymaker there. So the offense certainly did not play perfect, but hard for me to look at the offense when the pitching staff, I felt, took the wind out of the sails, and you still scored 8 runs. You bring the tying run to the plate in the 9th inning, get him to second base, as a matter of fact, not just bringing the plate. You brought the tying run and the winning run, got them on base, and like that should be good enough for Tennessee against Evansville, quite frankly.
Yeah, we say a lot of words here a lot of times, but both here and especially on the pod. I can say this very, very bluntly. You have a 4-0 lead against Evansville with the College World Series berth on the line, and you have your number 1 pitcher, your ace on the mound. That has to be a win.
On your mound.
That has to be a win. It has to be, and it wasn't. So now you've put yourself in a situation where, hey, the pressure's on you. Now, if you'd come to Tony Vitello before this season and said, here's a contract that says if you win 1 game against Evansville, you're going to Omaha, he would break your arm grabbing that from you to sign that. That's the good news. The bad news is that Evansville team's got some momentum now, and you have to wonder if your own guys are maybe going to pucker up a little bit. If Tennessee doesn't pucker up, Tennessee's fine tomorrow, but it can't pucker up.
No, it can't. I'm very fascinated to see how tomorrow plays out because I do not believe that Evansville has the pitching to hold Tennessee's offense in check. But on the flip side of that, where does Tennessee go on the mound? Obviously, Xander Sechrest is going to get the ball. Tony Vitello just said that in his post-game press conference. So on top of the whole not puckering up thing, because that's the other thing that I'm interested to see is, like, sure, Evansville is playing to go to Omaha as well, and Wes Carroll, their coach, said that he doesn't always want to sit around and think about I was one game away. He doesn't want to have that what if sit around with him for the rest of his career and the rest of his life. So there's pressure on Evansville. Don't mistake it that it's not, but there's no doubt that there's more pressure on Tennessee. So in addition to Tennessee making sure that they do not pucker up, can they find enough pitching to limit, once again, what is a really good Evansville offense? Those are the two keys tomorrow, I think.
Yeah, I mean, there's double-digit guys that you could throw out there at some point if you have to. Like if they have to go a whole lot of pitching changes, if they have to do something like that, they will do that because this is different. I mean, you know, Vitello said time and time again, and I get why he said it. It's just another series, right? You want to win 2 out of 3. You want to win the series. That is true. We all know it's not the same though, and so. There are basically no rules tomorrow. Like I would imagine that Beam is not available. I would imagine that every other pitcher on the roster is available in some capacity. That means if it's Stamos coming back and his first inning of this series was great before the second one wasn't, if that's even Causey getting the ball for a couple batters, I think you could see that. I mean, this is the first time all season they've been in these kind of games where you throw everything you have against the wall. I think they have enough arms. I think they have more arms than Evansville has. But they gotta execute.
We'll see. I think it'll end up being a similar scoring game till today, quite frankly. That 12-8, one way or the other. 12-8, and hopefully for Tennessee fans' sake, they are in the other column tomorrow when it's all said and done. But I also said that Tennessee was going to sweep Evansville this weekend. That did not happen. So who knows if I prove me right tomorrow? But it'll be certainly interesting to see how it plays out. I think a lot on the line tomorrow. Season on the line tomorrow.
I still think. Fairly comfortable Tennessee win, but again, I seem to be in a minority about that right now. But I felt a certain type of way in 2022 because that team had never been hit in the mouth. This team has been hit in the mouth a couple times and it's had to bounce back, and it's a different bunch in that way. I don't think it's the same story as it was, and I don't think, with respect to Evansville, I don't think it's as good as that Notre Dame team was 2 years ago. So Tennessee's not as good as it was 2 years ago, but the opponent is not nearly as good as it was 2 years ago. With all respect to them, they are a good baseball team. Notre Dame was different. I think this is a game that Tennessee, I think if it's a decent start, Tennessee can win comfortably. But if not, then buckle up.
Yep, I thought the same thing today, and look what happened. So we will be around for plenty of coverage. We've got plenty of coverage of today's loss up at the site, and that'll lead you into tomorrow's coverage of Tennessee's season being on the line with essentially a Game 7. It's technically a Game 3, but it's a Game 7 with your season on the line and a trip to Omaha on the line. So we'll have plenty of coverage of it all at GoVols247.com. He's Wes Rucker. I'm Ben McKee.